We're going to continue our in-depth coverage of Syria now with a look at the complex question of whether it is time for some kind of intervention in Syria. I'm joined by Majid Rafizadeh. He's an Iranian Syrian scholar and a columnist for the Harvard International Review and also ambassador for the National Iranian American Council. Thanks for being with us. So we're hearing more and more people suggest that it can't only be an internal solution in Syria, that you need either humanitarian intervention or possibly military intervention. But how do you go about achieving that?
I think this is the international community and the Arab League. I think they have used every possible means to persuade the Assad regime to use more civilized political manner to address people's grievances. And I think Syrian people have been for a long time begging and requesting the international community to come to their aids. I think the Arab states, non-Arab actors in the region like Turkey and the other countries like France and Britain, they basically use diplomacy, they use impose sanctions, and they use the Arab League missions, and you name it. They use different approaches, and none of them have been successful. I think he refused to cooperate, and it is very unfortunate that we see that Russia and China, to protect their own geopolitical and strategic interests, they also vetoed the resolution, and the resolution which was not a Western imposition. It was a resolution which was offered by the Arab League, and it was what the Syrian people have been requesting for. And I think now it's the time for, I believe it's not only the time, it should have been implemented earlier to intervene in Syria to stop the bloodshed. And by definition, humanitarian intervention is to stop any state who use violence and military force against other states or use violence and military force against its own people.
So how do you achieve that, though? I mean, you know, let's talk, first of all, before talking about arming the opposition or military intervention, let's talk about humanitarian assistance. How logistically, on the ground, would any other country outside of Syria go about doing that, do you think?
Well, I think now the only option, the scenario which is left, is the Arab League, the regional actors probably would work outside the domain of the United Nations. And there are a variety of options. I mean, they can fund, train the free armies, the Free Syrian Army. They can have some safe haven, safe zone at the northern border of Syria, in Aleppo, or in the southern border of Syria near Suwaida, Daraa. And they can, also for the people who are fleeing from Syria, so they will have a refugee sites there. And I think there are different variety of options that they can use to help the people, the citizens there.
But I mean, in the end, and this just to round things off, you mentioned Russia and China. And in the end, you know, the pressure coming from Britain, the US, and France is one thing. But in the end, is it going to be a case of only when Russia says to this Assad regime, enough is enough, that then maybe the government in Syria will start pulling back from the kinds of actions we've seen them undertake in Homs and elsewhere? Is that really all that the world community can hope for?
No, I think it's true that the Russian has basically emboldened and empowered the Assad regime, and they gave him basically the license to keep killing, raping, torturing the people. But I don't think that's the only solution. And as I said earlier, if the people cannot achieve their goals, the Syrian people and the Arab countries and Turkey cannot achieve their goals by the Security Council, and if Russia would block every resolution that comes there, I think they, as I said, they will try to use strategies outside the framework of the UN, and we're more likely to see that, as the Emir of Qatar, he suggested that they might send Arab troops to Syria. So I don't think Russia is really the only. We should just wait for Russia to join the international community in asking Assad to step aside.
Yes.